Could you imagine being a corner inside of the mid 2000s, bro? Like, I could never sit there and like really just comprehend like the speed, the flawlessness that these running backs and these wide receivers was running was absolutely insane. But today we're gonna be focusing on the wide receivers because who I feel so bad for the guys that had to guard them. But they made their money and they did their due diligence on trying to keep up with them. So let's go ahead and get into it. Julio Jones was one of, if not the most phenomenal wide receivers to ever play the game. Like, you have to really sit there and understand, like, this guy was a problem. He was literally, if not the only weapon that they had inside of Atlanta for a couple of years. And anybody that will tell you he is considered inside of at least the 2010s top 10 best receiver to ever lace them bitches up. Before we knew who AB was today when it comes to his whole CTE and things of that nature and the jokes and everything that's going on with him, this man right here is at least inside of top 3 best receivers to ever lace them up inside the 2010s. You can argue with a wall. His stats prove it. His Pro Bowls prove it. The only thing that man doesn't have on his resume is a Super Bowl ring. For my Dallas Cowboy fans, yes, he did catch that ball. The league even sat there and said it themselves. That was a catch. But he's the reason why I wore the number 88 inside of middle school when I was very first playing, because this man, when he threw up the X, was something very special. He was a red zone specialist. 50-50 balls, he was coming down with them majority of the time. As a corner, they had to eventually double team him or have him with a high safety. Dez Bryant is one of the greatest receivers to ever lace them up as a Dallas Cowboy. You can argue with a wall. If it wasn't for him being with the Detroit Lions, 9 times out of 10, Megatron would have still probably been inside the league right now. When you look at like big receivers like today, when you look at like DK Metcalf and guys like that who are like supersized, he's the original. He was one of, if not the most scariest guys to have inside of a corner perspective, a safety perspective, because he was so big and he was so fast. And literally, it was just so hard to like really just contain him. The only people that really was able to do that was like Darrelle Revis. Like, and even then, that's Darrelle Revis. We love that guy. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is definitely on the back end of his career, but he's still a productive receiver. But in his prime as a Houston Texan, you couldn't tell him anything. Along with Andre Johnson, those two were unstoppable. But him in particularly still is considered at least a top 20 receiver inside of the league, and especially inside of NFL history. You cannot deny his gameplay and his style. When you talk about productivity and longevity, you have to think of Larry Fitzgerald. He is still one of, if the most greatest players to ever lace up his cleats. When we're talking about everybody that's on this list, he has a career where, same thing like Megatron, where he didn't get a lot of production because of the team that he was with, but he showed loyalty and he put out his all to the fans and the organization. He's also a player that, no matter what you say, his numbers definitely correlate to how he was able to keep being productive. Mike Evans literally is the same case as the last couple of receivers that we've talked about inside this video. Productivity, loyalty to a team, longevity. Even though he's now with a new squad, he will forever be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Has a Super Bowl appearance, has a Super Bowl ring, has multiple Pro Bowl selections. His career as an individual, you cannot take away from him. And for the people that had to go against him, you definitely had to watch your film and you had to play his game and you had to figure him out quickly, or you were not going to be able to get the production that you were looking for. This man is one of the best receivers. May he rest in peace. Productivity was there. Corners was getting the business every time that man laced them up. Need I say more about him? Need I have to say more about this man, Davante Adams? One of the best considered 2010's best wide receiver, multiple selections inside the Pro Bowl, multiple appearances when it comes to him showing up and being able to be productive. Him and Aaron Rodgers were the dynamic duo. Then when he went over and won his championship over there with the Rams, still was able to put up good numbers with Matthew Stafford. Like, the guy is still in the league now, and he's still being able to reliable veteran receiver. If you need a guy to go get those 50-50 balls, he's still the guy to go look for. He's just not moving the same as he was in his younger years. So if you were a corner inside of the 2010s, or you had to face these men inside of now the 2020s, good luck, because these guys were one of, if not the best receivers right now and inside of the past. So you can never take that away from them.